right. Hello, You Can Heal family. We're back again for another live. We are moving right along through Iyanla Vanzant's book, One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. And I'm happy to be here. This has always been my favorite part of the day, is like before bed and reading a good book and unwinding with my tea and just reflecting on what my day was like. And it's been quite a day. It's been busy. I did a lot of reading. I did some research on childhood trauma, and I came across Nadine Burke-Harris. If you haven't heard of her, check her out. Just really interesting stuff about how childhood trauma affects our lifestyle, um, our health as adults. So just really wanting to look into that more. So yeah, that was interesting. And then I had a couple other things I took care of today. Yeah, glad to be here. Glad to finally sit down and relax. I did get a little nap in today, so that was really good too. I got a little nap in, so I was happy about that. And didn't go swimming today. Brenda didn't want to swim today, so I was like, hey, that's fine with me. We don't want to swim. And Blessing took the car to work, so she was happy about that. Little independent, so that was always good. That's always fun. My tea's really good. I like green tea with apple cider vinegar. If you want to know, that's the scoop. So tonight we will be learning about the word non-judgment and hearing what Miss Van Zant has to say about that. So if this is your first time ever tuning into a live, my name is Shena Major, and I'm a life coach, and I help people heal from relationships that have been unhealthy, because I've been in a lot of those, and I've managed over the last 7 years to really um, figure out what was going on with me and why I was stuck, you know? And I did some work and I figured some things out. So now I'm on here trying to share, what I went through, right? Turn your pain into purpose. So that's what's going on over here. So I've been reading at night this book, and this is a book I read back in like 2018, 2019. Probably it was the end of 2018 into 2019, because the last date we just saw was in April. And it's a really good book. Miss Van Zant gives you a word to work with, and she gives you the definition, then commentary on it. Then there's some journal prompts and some affirmations and things like that. So we've been going through that. And the journal prompts are based on what I was feeling at that time. If I didn't answer the question at the time I was going through the book, then I answer it here on the live. And that's how we do the work. We're putting in the work, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to have another sip of tea, and then we're going to get started. All right, day 20, honor others with non-judgment. Working definition. The principle we are working with today is non-judgment. It is a state of mental and emotional openness and receptivity to new experiences and new interpretations of past experiences. Observation of people and or participation in events without the imposing of personal will, perceptions, or criticisms. So that's a lot, without imposing your personal will, perceptions, or criticism. That's her working definition of non-judgment. So now we're going to go ahead and read the commentary. Every parent wants their child or children to be the very best they can be. Along with this very natural, very normal desire comes the parent's perspective of exactly how good the child can be and how they should go about demonstrating that goodness. Parents have rules, parameters, and guideposts that measure how well the child is doing. Although they don't like to admit it, I think most parents also have a timeline. They want it done this way by this time. They say it is for the child's benefit. Parents know, what happens to idle hands and minds. Not only did they read it in the Bible, they have also witnessed what has happened to their own peers and the offspring of their peers who are not fully committed to the pursuit of becoming good. When the offspring fail to demonstrate satisfactory progress toward the goal of goodness, parents naturally assume the kid is off smoking weed or gambling over in the devil's workshop. I know a lot about this. You see, I am the parent of three offspring. One was born good and never strayed off the path. Another had some vague idea that good existed and tried desperately to figure out where it lived. Another I judged could not identify good if it jumped up and bit her on the butt. None of my offspring are dead, so all of this was subject to change. Before the change could take place, I went into fear. In the midst of my fear, I subjected them all to the natural, normal parental judgments, comparisons, criticisms, and hysteria that threatened to destroy our relationship. I judged them to be irresponsible, unfocused, uncommitted, and downright lazy. I learned from a very dear friend that what I was looking at had absolutely nothing to do with my children. I viewed them by the judgments I had made about myself. Oh, now I hope you caught that because that's a really good piece of information as to why we judge people and look at people funny and criticize people is because there's something within ourselves that we recognize that we know we need to change. But we don't want to change. We fight against the change, so we judge everybody else that we see behaving, acting, being, or doing something like us. So we judge them. All right, the next paragraph says, I came from a dysfunctional and impoverished background. I got pregnant at 16. I dropped out of school. I married young. I had a bad marriage. I struggled to raise my three children alone, hoping, praying, and doing everything in my power to ensure that my children did not make the same mistakes that I did. Excuse me. Okay. I wanted more for them. Admittedly, I had no idea what the more was or what it would take to get it. But I thought I knew very well the things that would push them along the same path I had traveled. I was always on the lookout for those things, the things I had done, the things I had said, the behaviors I had exhibited. Whenever I saw signs of me and my children, I became angry. Angry at them for what I thought was risking their lives, and angry at myself for what I had done to stray away from being good. Once the anger subsided, I became afraid, afraid that they were not going to make it to the goodness, and afraid that I would fail them the way I judged that my parents had failed me. I could see the cycle of dysfunction repeating itself from my parents to me, from me to my children. It made me crazy. It's so good to have a sane friend to talk to when you're crazy. I had one. My friend made one statement. It was a simple statement that made no sense and so much sense at the same time. He gave me some insight that helped me release my children, myself, and every other person and condition in my life from the death grip of judgment. The statement, There is no right, no wrong. There just is what is. Are you telling me that it's not wrong to kill, lie, and steal? People who commit those acts do so in fear, shame, or guilt. It is wrong to be afraid or shamed or to feel guilty. Is it wrong to be afraid or shamed or to feel guilty? It made sense, but it didn't feel right. I mean, good. I had to pursue this line of thought a bit further. If there is no right or wrong, that means anybody can do anything because they are afraid, ashamed, or guilty. People do anything and everything anyway. The fact that we judge it wrong or right does not stop people from doing anything in this life. When we judge what they've done, we are actually informing them of the conditions we place on loving them. When they do what we think is right, we love them. If we judge them wrong, we become angry and ignite the fear that we will take our love away. A person without love is a frightened person. A frightened person is capable of doing some pretty unloving things. Get a grip. Thousands of people were enslaved because somebody felt unloved. Hitler killed millions because he felt unloved. I had it backwards. That with which we are unfamiliar, we fear. Those things we don't understand, we fear. People are enslaved by or because of fear. When we feel powerless, we seek power. When we have no control, we seek to control. People are killed when powerlessness seeks to control. That's crazy. Crazy is a judgment. People killing or enslaving other people because they are afraid or because they feel powerless or want control is not crazy. Who's to say? People do what they do based on who they are, what they believe, and the information they have at the time that supports their feelings and beliefs. Slavery is wrong today. 400 years ago, it seemed like a viable economic venture. Hitler is considered a monster today. In his day, however, thousands supported or ignored him. Saying it was right or wrong does not change the fact that it was. When you think of something as wrong, you are actually saying there is something wrong with you. Me? I don't think there's anything wrong with me. Of course you do. That's why you judge your children. Hmm. I'm not judging my children. I simply want them to do the right thing. I mean, I want them to make out better than I have. What's wrong with the way you made out? I made it so hard on myself and those around me. You did what you knew how to do based on what you knew and believed to be right at that time. How can you prevent your children from doing the same thing if that is what they choose to do? By teaching them how to do things the right way, by giving them better skills, better tools than I had. You've made me afraid to use the word right. When you are afraid, you see and hear things that have nothing to do with what is. Let me read that again. When you are afraid, you see and hear things that have nothing to do with what is. Your children are going to do whatever they're going to do, no matter what you think, say, do, or fear. Period. My goodness. All right, let's turn the page and get some tea. I know. Good kids come from bad homes and bad kids come from good homes. There must be some magic formula to ensure the success of our children. There is. Give them your best. Share with them what you know and let them make their own choices based on what you have shared. When they falter or fall, be there for them without anger or fear. Take the conditions off your love. Stop looking for your mistakes in their actions. When it's all said and done, the best thing you can do for your children is to stop believing that there's anything wrong with the way you turned out or the way you turned up. I hate it when you're right. I'm never right. I just share what I know because I am. You mean you is. Well, that was a good commentary, especially if you have children or even if you know someone who has children. Like, let's not put our stuff on our kids. That's what I'm taking away. Like, they're going to do, what's that sentence that I read? Your children are going to do whatever they're going to do, no matter what you think, say, do, or fear. That's free will. That's free will. Even if we have guidelines as parents and rules and curfews, kids break curfews. Why? Because they're going to do what they want to do. When you tell them to take out the garbage and they don't, it's because they want to do what they want to do. Now, may they have consequences? Sure. But ultimately, people do what they're going to do. And we can't control them. The next part of our reading is the commentary. So I'll read the prompt and then I'll share with you what I wrote back then. After reading today's commentary, I realized I made the best decision to marry my husband, ex-husband now, based on what I knew and what I believed to be true. All right, so not, beating myself up for that decision, but realizing that's where I was at the time. The key phrase or phrase I want to remember and work with today are: teach my children what I know. Let me make their own choices. Let them make their own choices based on what I shared. Don't impose my will, my perspective, and my criticisms on others. So that's what I wrote for that journal prompt. Don't impose my will or perception or my criticisms on others. All right, so now we're at the point in the book where Ms. Vanzant gives some affirmations on non-judgment. So I'm going to read those, and if you're willing, go ahead and read them out loud or in your head or just listen. Here we go. I am because God is in control. All is because God is in control. Every person and every living thing has at its life center God's perfect control. I will not judge my appearances. I will not fear when things do not go my way. No matter what it may look like, I must remember God is always in complete and perfect control. For this I am so grateful, and so it is. So it is. I really like that one. No matter what it may look like, I must remember God is always in complete and perfect control. So we really don't have to fear. We don't have to get caught in anxiety and worry. God's in control of everything. Don't fret over the future. God's in control. We don't have to do that. We really don't. All right, the next section is let me remember. So these are things Ms. Vanzant wants you to remember as you go about your day or into your day tomorrow, whatever time you're listening to this, around the word non-judgment. She wants you to remember there is no right or wrong, there is only is. People do what they do based on their feelings and beliefs, which are not right or wrong. I do not understand what I'm looking at, so I must not judge what I see. Let me remember, I always judge others by the judgments I have made of myself. Judgment closes the mind and heart to new levels of understanding. No matter what it looks like, God is in control. No matter what it looks like, God is in control. And, when it comes to our healing on this channel, we talk about healing and and being on that healing journey. And things might look like there's no way out of this, or, how did I get myself in this situation? Or, things will never change, but they will, if we allow God to be in control and we're not trying to take over. We just let Him have His way and stay in the Word. If we stay in the Word and be a doer of the Word, He'll work all things out for good. He does. He really does. All right. The next section is the evening non-judgment journal prompts. So I wrote, today I realize I'm quick to judge myself when I think of, and then I won't say his name, but my ex-husband. So I was quick to judge myself. The next thing I wrote, today I found myself judging others when one of the daycare parents picked up her child. She was getting someone to stay late. So it must have been a parent who was picking up their child. If you don't know, I have a daycare in my home. So someone must have been picking up the child late. So I was judging them about that. And then the next journal prompt says, I realize it's easy to suspend judgment when I'm still learning to love me. So yeah, part of my testimony is I was in so many relationships that weren't healthy for so long because I didn't love myself. And that's what I learned throughout my journey. The more I began to affirm myself and stop talking negatively about myself, I began to love myself more and more. And then I was able to see more clearly how relationships I had been in or currently were not serving me and were not healthy for me. So that's that. And I think that's the end of this section. Yes, it is. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about forgiveness. Day 21 is forgiveness. And, we could all learn something. And I'm sure Ms. Vanzant has a good story or a good message for us when we get to the commentary tomorrow. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I see I've got some things underlined over here. So that'll be a good one tomorrow. So I've started giving a sneak peek at tomorrow. So I'm going to read the working definition of forgiveness to give you an idea. Hi, Lisa, if you want to learn about that. So tomorrow, honor others with forgiveness. So the definition says, the principle we're working with tomorrow will be forgiveness. It is release, letting go, the process of removing errors from the mind in pursuit of harmony. I just like the way that word sounds, harmony. The release of what is false for what is true. Giving up of a thought or emotion in order to facilitate change of the thought or emotion. So that's going to be a good one. So that's a sneak peek at tomorrow. So we'll get into this and see, if there's things that we thought we've forgiven someone on, but we haven't. And I know when I first started this journey and I was going to Celebrate Recovery, and I think I shared that's a place for people who have hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And it doesn't have to just be addiction or drugs, but, like for me, codependency or abandonment or issues and things like that. But I remember, I would forgive my ex-husband for this, and I would think I was fine, and then something else would come up, and there would always be more layers of things that I needed to truly forgive him or myself for. So I know tomorrow's going to be really good. I'm looking forward to that. So that's it, you guys. I hope that everybody sleeps well, or if you're listening in the morning, you're rising with anticipation and hope for a beautiful day, and know that you'll have a good night's rest. God is good, and He's with you all the time, and He watches over you. Your angel's right with you. So with that said, I'll see you tomorrow. I love you all, and always remember that true healing begins with self-love. Why? Because God is love, and He lives on the inside of you. He absolutely does. You are in Christ. He's with you all the time. And that's a beautiful thing. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Good night, Lisa.